Local file inclusion vulnerabilities. These exploits or vulnerabilities allow you to read any file that is within the same server. So even if the file exists outside the var www, you'll be able to read it and read info with it. Now, why this vulnerability is critical? Because you can read any files. So if the users are storing some sort of important files or password files, then you'll be able to read them, and then from there you can further exploit your target. Also, if there is a number of websites on the same server and you manage to find this on a website that you're not targeting, then you might be able to access files related to the website that you're targeting and then further exploit your website from there. So let's have a look on this. And we'll also, the way we're going to be exploiting this vulnerability is through the URL. So usually in our code execution example, we were writing the code in here. Now, sometimes you might find the code vulnerability in the URL, so it'll be something like cmd, and then you put the command, or for example, in this case, it would be IP equals to the IP, for example, 10.20.14.203, and then you put the sign, and then you put your pwd after it, for example. So, because our example was just in the text box. Same is going to happen here in our file inclusion vulnerability. So we can see that when you're in here in this URL, it's saying that this file is going to take a page and it's loading something called include.php. So it looks like it's actually loading another page, like this current page is loading another page called include.php. So again, you'd be browsing the web server and trying to get a feel of it, and you see something like this, or you see something called IP equals the IP, and then you know that there's a ping, for example, for the previous video. So for this, that we know that our target is trying to open a file, and the file is called include.php. Let's see if there is actually a file called include.php. So I'm just going to remove everything here and try to access include.php directly. And as we can see, we actually do have a file called include.php. It's not running properly, but it exists and it's in the same working directory. So let's try and see if we can read a file that is stored in the computer. And we're going to use a file called etc password. So that's the file which contains all the users and their paths on the current web server. So let's have a look on this. So etc, this file contains all the users for the current operating system. So if I just go on my Kali right here, and if I run it here, if I just do cat etc password, you'll see all the users that I have on the current computer and their default path on the current operating system. So we're going to try to read this file. And to do that, let's go back and see our current location. So our current location is in the fi file, in the fi directory. So we need to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then go to etc password. So going back would be done using the ... And let's try and do that. So at the moment we're accessing this current file, and just to make it easier for you, actually, let's just put the full path right here. So on the page, it's trying to access this page. So what we actually want a place called etc password. So we need to go back 5 times for these directories. So this one is going to be, let's start them from here. So we're going back, 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 and back, and then we're going to go to etc password. And as you can see, now we have the output of the etc password file. We can copy that and store it here, and then you'll be able to read it and just get more information about the websites that you're targeting right now. Again, you can use this to try to access different files, sensitive files, or files of other websites on the same server. Now let's go to the security settings, and I'm going to set this to medium because I just want to show you that the medium setting is actually can be exploited exactly the same way as the low level. So the security is set to medium. I'm going to go back to file inclusion, and we're going to use the exploit the exact same way that we did it before. And as you can see, we managed to get the contents of etc password.